So you want to be a speaker. Why do you want to be a speaker? What motivates you? Why are you doing that? So to begin with, don't forget, like and subscribe so you can learn new tips and tricks about speaking, public speaking, engagement, communication, all that good stuff. Please like and subscribe. It helps us. It connects us with you. Please do that. Okay, Brett, why? Why a public speaker?
Well, when I was young, I was afraid of people. I was like this introvert, and I had friends and everything, but I was afraid of approaching strangers. I was afraid of asking questions. I almost didn't go to college because I could not bring myself to talk to the admissions people at the desk. I just could not. I didn't know who to ask, and I didn't want to ask because I was afraid. And I had this fear of people, but I grew up on the stage. And every time that I would get up on the stage, I did performances, I did plays and musicals. I was on the debate team. I loved being on the stage. I loved the applause. I loved the attention. I loved how being on the stage allowed me to separate myself from who I thought I was and be who I wanted to be. And so being on the stage was it was more like a psychological release for me because I could let go and of some of my inhibitions and actually just have a lot of fun. Well, fast forward to adulthood, and I hadn't been on the stage for a long time. I kind of missed having some fun on the stage, but I had this experience where I ended up feeling really passionate about this topic about preparing for your career through college. And my niece was getting ready to graduate from high school, and she was trying to think of what she was going to do with her life, and I wanted to share that information with her. Well, I didn't have access to her very much at the time, and so what I did is I ended up writing it all down. And as I wrote, it continued to grow and snowball, and I ended up writing a book. And I eventually had a chance to share that with her, and it was a beautiful experience. But once I had this book, it was like, what do I do? Wow, what do I do with this book that I have on my hands? And so I started researching how to share and sell this book to my potential audience. And what I learned was that I needed to become a public speaker to promote my book. And so that's what I did, and I loved it. From day one, from the first time that I got up on stage to promote my book, I remembered that feeling of being separated from my audience, being separated from who I thought I was, and there's something about a feeling of being home when I'm on stage, and it scares me to death until the moment I step out on stage, and then I just let loose and have fun. But there is that feeling of being home.
I love it. So, do you?
There's a lot of reasons that I just packed in there in that little story of why become a speaker.
Yeah, we hear so much about people with so much passion about, hey, I just know I'm supposed to get up on stage and I'm supposed to teach everybody something. They don't know, though. They just know they're supposed to help people. They have this passion. Is there some way to steer them differently or do something for them? Because you've got to have a why and a purpose.
I think it's less like redirecting cows and more like bridling a horse.
Really?
You don't want to stop them from walking into danger. You want to guide them through the danger zones. Because you're right, everyone that has a passion for something, that doesn't necessarily make them a great public speaker. There's a lot of practice, a lot of stuff that goes into becoming a public speaker that requires some training and knowledge.
So it's work, like everything else.
Well, yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It is.
And if everybody's got a passion. There's so many people that want to be Tony Robbins, or they want to get up there and change people's lives, but they don't have any kind of a direction or an idea of what that looks like. And I think this why, there's a reason that is so important. A why you're doing this. When it comes down to the hard stuff, and it's hard to do things, if you don't have a why, you'll just quit. And maybe you are supposed to be on stage. Maybe you are supposed to be impacting people. But if you don't know what your purpose is and the message that you're supposed to give and why you're supposed to do that, it's going to be hard.
Yeah. Why is such an important question, and it's a question that we address over and over and over again, regardless of what topic we're talking about, because why is such a big deal. It works for everything from sales to innovation to personal development, and ultimately, I love the whole Simon Sinek thing about getting to the why, because if you don't know your why, then how are you going to draw your people in? Your why is really what connects you to your audience. It's not your message. Your message is what shapes your audience. Your message is what allows you to change your audience, and it also helps you to connect with your audience. But to connect to your audience, to reach out and find your audience, you need to know why you're doing this.
It's interesting because I don't see a lot of speaker training, speaker things that talk about why you should be a speaker or why you're doing what you're doing. Is it just me? Have you seen a lot of trainings that talk about that? It doesn't. Toastmasters and all the different places that you go to. I don't hear about. Why are you doing this? And maybe you should dig deep into understanding what your whole message is, what the purpose is for you to be on stage as a speaker. What is driving you to make a difference in these people's lives? Why do they want to come see you? What are you going to do that's going to change them? Because as a speaker, it's actually not about you. It is about the audience, right?
Yeah, it's about the audience. And here's the thing. It's easy to teach technique. It's easy to teach mechanics. And if you're teaching technique and mechanics, and that's what people are looking for when they decide that they want to become a speaker. But what we do a lot of times is we go beyond the techniques, we go beyond the mechanics, because we're more focused on developing the speaker as a speaker, not just as a public person, right? We want them to be focused on what portion of speaking or what it is that they're doing to make a difference in this world.
Yeah, I think that's the difference, is focusing on your why and how that connects with the audience so they can connect to you.